Okay, we're ready to go. We're ready to go, and that's the subject of the shir, Lech. The Indian is the Indian of Lech. Vayom Hashem el Avram Lech, Lecha. Lech. The first word is Lech. The first word is the Indian of Lech, the Indian of just go. A Yid has to realize that our tachlis is the future. The Yid has to realize that our tachlis is the future. Do you know why a Yid is called a Yid? Because a Yid, it's a Hasidic pronunciation of the letter Yud. The Yud, a Yid is a Yud. That's why a Yid is a Yud. Why? Because Yud, you stick a Yud before every word, it turns it into which tense? Future tense. A Yid is in the future. A Yid, his whole mindset, a Jew's whole mindset is that he's working for the future. And therefore a Yid is a hoylech. A Jew is a hoylech. Vayom Hashem el Avram Lech. We're going to a beautiful destination. But Hashem puts us in this world, and a Yid has to constantly know that he has to be a hoylech, and he has to monitor his halicha. He has to monitor how far he's come already and how much more there is to go. I always give the example of a Talmud of mine in Mevaseret. Years ago we were learning Sanhedrin, beautiful Masechta we were learning at night. We went through the whole Masechta, and he was playing with he was holding, let's say, Daf Nun, let's say, I'm throwing out a Daf, and he was playing with the pages till Nun and playing with the pages after. And I said, what are you doing? So he said the whole time he's looking how far we've come already, how many Dafim he's learned already, and how many Dafim he still has to learn. Do you know what that is? That is the Shem Havaya. Because the Shem Havaya is Hoya, Hoive, V'yiyeh. Hoya, hoive, v'yeh. So a Yid is in the hoive. In other words, I'm living in the hoive, and the whole time I've got to look into the past and look into the future. Why do I have to look into the past? Because I have to see how far I have come, how far I have accomplished. If a person doesn't monitor his accomplishment, let's say not even in learning, in davening, it's hard for a guy to get up in the morning. So he's going to monitor, wow, I got up Sunday and Monday, Tuesday, wow, I feel so fresh, I feel so good with myself, I'm going to get up on Wednesday and Thursday as well. That's hoya and yiyah. Hoya, hoive, v'yiyah. A Yid has constantly got to see how far I've come, because he's a hoylech. As a hoylech, we have to see how far we've come and how far we still have to go. And that is hoya, hoive, v'yiyah. That's why a Yid lives in the Yud Kei Vovkei. Shavisi Havaya l'negdi Summit. Paroi said, Lo yodati es Havaya. I don't recognize the Shem Havaya. Why? Because that idiot is living only in the present, right? He's not living only in the present. He doesn't go beyond the present. And that's why he held that the Jews must never leave Egypt. Why? Because they should not become hoylchim, because you're not going anywhere. Because a goy doesn't go anywhere. So they tried to confide Am Yisrael that we don't go anywhere. And therefore when Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we went into the Midbar, and in the Midbar we were hoylchim. We were travelers, because we are travelers. In this world we are travelers. And this is really the difference between Yaakov and Esau, between a Jew and a goy. Yaakov's name is Yaakov. What's the first letter of Yaakov's name? Yud. Why? Because it's a future. Where are you going? You go to the end. What does Akev mean? The end. So Yud, Akev, I'm looking constantly into the future. I've got to get to the end. I've got to get to my destination. And therefore the pasuk says, Vayisa Yaakov Raglov. He lifted his legs. Yaakov is a hoylech. Esau, however, is also hoylech. Where's he going? Hine anoichi hoylech. Lomos, meaning I'm going to die. His alicha is not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Don't go anywhere. They don't recognize the Yud Kei Vovkei. So if they don't recognize the Yud Kei Vovkei, they're not looking how far they've come, and they're not looking where they're going. But a Yid always does both. Da me ayin basam. Ayin basam doesn't only mean where you're coming from. You're coming from a tip of sruchim. Ayin basam means how far you've come. How far you've come. I always used to tell the boys, when they're leaving yeshiva after 2 years, after Shana Bet and Mavaser and OJ, like, you got to look always what you were like Rosh Chodesh September last year. You came in, they told you to come to yeshiva. Look at now you're such as Ben Torah, you're Ben Aliyah, you're a Ben Tefillah, you're a Ben Avoida. You got to look how far you've come. And then, if you see how far you come, then you can move on to see how far you're going to go. Esau doesn't come and doesn't go. He was koifent chesamezim. He doesn't know where he comes from. He doesn't know where he's going. A Yid is me'ayim basar. How far you've come, and where you're going. And therefore Esau says, Hine anoichi hoylech lomos. My halicha is not going anywhere. In sharp contrast to Yaakov Avinu, who's Yud, Akev. He's looking the whole time to see that he's going, he's moving. And that's why the Nazis, Yimach Shemam Zichram, at the end of the war, they had what was called the Death March. Do you know what a Death March means? Hoylech Lomos. It's a literal translation of Hoy Lech Lamas. In other words, they try to put the Yid and they try to be mazalzin in the halicha and the koyach halicha of Am Yisrael, and therefore they made a death march. And the Heilige Tzanzer Rebbe was there, and he was ma'oida the Yid. Death march means they were just dropping like flies, and the Nazis were saying, yeah, a death march. We're going to put the end of you. We're putting the end of this halicha. We're putting an end to Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael has been going and going and going and going and going and going through all the generations, and everybody's tried to put a stop to us. They try to put a stop to us. We're not being a hoylech anymore. Therefore, they made a death march, but they weren't successful. And Klal Yisrael is still plodding on, and we're still going, and that's the sharp contrast between the Yid and a goy. A goy lives a depressed life because he's not going anywhere, but a Yid lives a geschmack life, and this is the side of Shabbos. Every Shabbos, a person makes a cheshbon hanefesh. In the past week, how much he accomplished. According to how much he was a hoylech on Shabbos, ba Shabbos ba menucha. Shabbos is menucha. Why? Because Shabbos we reached our destination. Why are we going and going and going? Because we're going somewhere. And Shabbos is the time where we reach our destination. Now when you reach your destination, you don't have to be a hoylech. Now there's mana menucha. Except for me, that I do my exercise of halicha on Shabbos. But normal people walk during the week, they exercise during the week, and Shabbos is a menucha. And Shabbos, you're not a hoylech. So every Shabbos, it comes to Shabbos is menucha. A person sees how far it's come. Who appreciates Shabbos? A person that walked a long way. A person had a long halicha on Shabbos. A person had during the week. A person had a long halicha during the week. He appreciates really what Shabbos is all about. He really appreciates the concept of Shabbos. Taka Shabbos is ba menucha. Shabbos is the emistic menucha, and you only feel the menucha on Shabbos if you did a lot of halicha. If you did a lot of halicha during the week, according to how much a person did halicha, that's how much a person. This is the side of where this all comes into it. So the beginning of the parsha, Hashem says to Avram, Lech. Lech, you have to begin a life halicha. Lecha, Rashi says, Lecha na'ascha l'tevascha. People ask, we do mitzvahs for our hana, for our benefit. I thought we're supposed to serve Hashem. And here Hashem says, Lech, go, lecha, for your hana and for your good. Is that why we do mitzvahs for our hana and for our good? But what are we referring to here? Hashem saying, you know where you're going, Lech, you know where you're going? Lecha, lehanoscha, means olam haba. Because olam haba, it says, tzadikim yoshvin, v'atreseim b'risheim, v'nehenen mizev hashchina. What's olam haba all about? Hana. Of course you get hana after the whole halicha, after working hard. Of course you have hana. In other words, Hashem is not just telling us to work hard. Hashem is telling us, I'm bringing you to the biggest hana. But the greater the work, the bigger the benefit. The hana. So Lech, go where? To Olam Haba. That's why Hashem says, Ela Oretz Asher Areka. Areka means I will show you. Meaning I can't show it to you now. Why? Because the pasuk said, because Chazal say, Olam haba, ayin le'rasa lekim zulasecha. Ayin le'rasa, you can't see olam haba. So Hashem said that Oretz Asher Areka, you're working to reach your destination. And there's a halicha, your whole life is a halicha. And you should know that even when things are not going well, it's also part of your halicha. And that's why in this week's parasha, all we see about Avraham Avinu is that he has nisyonos. He has nisyonos. And you have to know that a nisyon is part of your halicha. You may think it's stopping you, but it's really part of your halicha. You want to hear beautiful remez? Yeah, why not? Pashas, Nitzavim, and Vayelech always they go together, and they have the opposite meanings. Nitzavim means I've stopped in one place. And what does Vayelech mean? You're going. Because the Rashi at the beginning of Nitzavim says that the Yidden heard all the klalas and they were really in a bad state. They were really feeling very... And Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, no, Atem Nitzavim Yom Kulchem. Nitzavim Vayelech means that even if it comes to a time where you can't literally be a hoiler because you're undergoing a Nisayan, you have to know that the Nisayan is also part of the Alicha. And if you overcome the Nisayan, you've taken a lot of strides forward. You overcome the Nisayan, it's taking a lot of strides forward. On the contrary, a person who overcomes an Nisayan has moved much quicker ahead and much further ahead than somebody that doesn't have an Nisayan. Because Chazal say, Lepum Tzara Agra. The reward that we're talking about is according to how much Tzar, meaning how big the Nisayan you had. So what gives you a propelling forward? What puts your halicha on turbo? What puts the halicha on turbo engine? A Nisayan. So Parshas Lech Lecha is full of nisyonos. Avraham Avinu goes through 10 nisyonos. Why? Because he was commanded Lech. And Hashem's saying, Lech doesn't just mean when you can run a marathon. Lech means every step of life is a Lech. And a Nesoin comes your way, and you say, Hashem, I love you. Hashem, please take me out of this Nesoin. And you feel, in fact, strengthened after the Nesoin. And let me tell you something. Not only when you overcame the Nesoin that you feel strengthened, even if you fell, but you got up and you did a tshuva, and it's such a kiddush Hashem to show the Yetzer Hara, I'm so angry with you, I hate you, I'm going to show you that I'm not going to give in, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk on and I'm going to move on. That's part of the halicha of a Yid. Aliyas, Yuridas, Nefilas. Ki sheva yipal tzadik v'kom. He gets up again, he carries on walking. A Yid falls, gets up, carries on walking. That's part of the halicha. Nisyonis are all part of the halicha. What's the biggest nisoyin of the Dor today? Nisoyin in Kedushas HaBris. And the bris is between the raglaim. It's in the middle, it's between the raglaim. You know why? Because it enables a person who's a shomer HaBris, it enables him to walk in the middle. Meaning to walk in the middle means to walk in a straight line. When do you get somewhere? When you walk on the middle path. If you stay right or if you stay left, what's going to happen? You're not going to get to the destination. Only the Kav Imtsoi gets to the destination. And we've discussed this before already. That's why Amalek doesn't want to keep us on the middle Kav. If you know the Seder of spheres, you know that the middle Kav is Das, Teferes, and Yisoid. Das, Teferes, and Yisoid spells Dati. Dati means a religious Jew. A religious Jew means he's on the middle path. The middle path means he's moving in the middle. Moving in the middle, that's meaning your legs, your aglaim are going on the middle path. That's in accordance to a person's Kedusha Zabris. Because the bris is in the emtza of the aglaim, so it enables a person to walk in the emtza. I remember once we took a boat to go from England to France, and we didn't take a special pilot and to help us, and we ended hours and hours and hours, and we weren't getting anywhere. And eventually we realized we were going around in circles because you don't. And the sea, there's no road, so you got to have a compass. You got to understand to go in a straight line. If you don't understand, then you go around in circles. A Yid goes too much right, too much left, doesn't go anywhere. A Yid has to go straight. So Amalek, we said he wants us to go on the death march. He wants us to go on a halicha lomos, meaning he doesn't want us to get anywhere. If he doesn't want us to get anywhere, it means he doesn't want us to go on the middle path. If he doesn't want us to go on the middle path, what does he do to stop us going on the middle path? Asher korcha baderech. Rashi says, korcha is lashon keri, lashon pekama bris. Amalek is our greatest enemy because he causes us to be the bris. We are so close to our destination today. We are so close to the destination. And when you get very close to the destination, you always see in a marathon or an Olympic, whatever it is, you imagine as they get closer to the end, they start slowing down. But in reality, the closer you get to the end, the more competition you are, because everybody's putting in their last bout of effort and koyach. So suddenly they speed up, and the last bit is the most crucial part of it. You know, a lot of people, they even at the beginning, they don't tie themselves up at the beginning of a running race, because then they've got no koyach at the end. When is the real push? At the end. So you got to keep your koyach to the end. We are now at the end. We are now at the ikvus of the Mashiach. We said Yaakov is Ekev. Ekev means the end. We are now at the ikvus of the Mashiach, which means now it's the most crucial to go in a straight line. Now it's the most crucial. We can already see the destination. We can feel Mashiach Tzidkeinu coming so close. So now it's more crucial than ever not to go for krachim, not to go right, not to go left, to stay on the straight path. So what does our enemy do? Our enemy causes us pekama bris. Pekama bris means that you lose the middle. If you lose the middle, it means you lose the halicha. It's going in a straight line, and then you don't get to your destination. And that's why this is the main sign of the door, and everybody has to be mechazik themselves in this inyan. And that's why pekama bris causes depression. Why does it cause depression? Because you lose the feeling that you're doing something. You lose the feeling that you're going somewhere. A person feels that he's getting somewhere in life. That brings him simcha. A person feels he's not going anywhere. He's going around in circles in life. So then that causes him frustration, causes him depression. But the person who's shema bris, he has simcha because he's going in the middle path, and he feels that this middle path is taking him in a clear direction. So this is the nesoin taka that we're fighting with Esav, and we're fighting with Amalek. At the end of this golus is keep straight, keep monitoring yourself, and write down on a piece of paper how much you come to. Baruch Hashem, today, Hashem, thank you. I just mamish saw in London now. There's a family in London, a boy that I knew in Nebuchadnezzar. He was young, I was 35. He died in Nebuchadnezzar cancer years ago. Peltz, you know the family. So Aaron Peltz, he was very chashuv. He lived here. He was from London, and just now when I was in London, I have that safe at home. I had it at home. I don't know where it is, but he has his diary when he was sick. And he was sick like for a while, and he died. but he was sick, and he wrote a diary of everything he was doing. Like today, Baruch Hashem was zeicher to learn a daf in Ksubas, and somebody came to visit me, and I shared this and this to Torah. Like every day he was right. Why? Because he could see that he was drawing the end. He was getting close to his destination. Nebuch getting close to the end of his life, and therefore he kept a diary of everything he's doing because he wanted to see himself reaching his destination. Everyone should be gesund and stark. Everyone should be really healthy. And now, in a national level, we all Am Yisrael is reaching their destination. So it's so important for every person to write this, to feel, to monitor, really to monitor himself. Does he want to write it down? Does he want to keep it in his head? But every person should have this cheshbon nefesh of hoya hoy v'viyeh. How far I come. And I can say about it, mamish, every guy that I'm looking around the Beis Medrash now, I mean the dining room now, and every single guy seated over here has come really far and has made great strides. And it's important to bear that in mind all the time. All the time. You cannot move forward if you don't appreciate what you've done. You cannot go to the year if you're not focused on the hoya. Mom is just like that guy. Like, I've done already 50 daf of the Masechta, that gives me the push to do the other 50. You got to hoya every year. We mustn't be like the Mitzrayim, the lo yadati Hashem. Hashem wants us to know that we're hoilchim, and it's geschmack, and that's the beauty of Shabbos. If a person worked really hard during the week, it's a whole different Shabbos. It's a whole different Shabbos. And really, when you relax on Shabbos, and you really should relax on Shabbos, and again, different people have different ways of relaxing. Some people don't learn. Some people learn different things. Some people learn things that they enjoy more. Whatever your relaxation is, it's eating challenge. Whatever relaxation is, it's all important. But the harder you are, you have to feel that Sunday I'm really going to make an effort. Monday, Tuesday. When it gets to Tuesday, which is today, I'm going to look back on my Monday, on my Sunday, Monday. And then with the koyach that I have from looking back on Sunday, Monday, I'm going to move forward into the Wednesday and Thursday. And I get to Shabbos and says, wow, I didn't dream I'd get to these goals. And that's why all these things of learning Mishnayis, learning over the weekend Novi, and especially the Bekiah Seder, to take it really seriously, the Bekiah Seder, because every day you're monitoring, I've done another Omed, half Omed, whatever. At the end of the week, you really feel, and that's why some guys tell me they have the most geschmack. I tell them, Shabbos, learn a Chassidish Sefer, learn something, not lighter, learn something avoid. They said they have a great tainuk on Shabbos to do Chazorah on the Bekiah Seder they're doing. Kama guys have told me this. What's the Oimeka Inyan? The Oimeka Inyan is, when you do Chazorah, you see, wow, I'm relaxing now, and I just want to sit back and see how much I've done. And what took you hours and hours to do 2 daf, you're going to do that in 2 hours, and you're going to see, wow. And it's part of the menucha just to see, like, wow, I really was koine this, what I did. And then you really appreciate the Shabbos, and you really, really appreciate the Shabbos. And this is such an important yesod. Vayomer Hashem Avram Lech, and that's why Bris Milah is at the end of the parasha. The beginning of the parasha is Lech, and the end of the parasha is Avram Avinu was given Bris Milah. If you want to be a real hoylech, then you have to have Bris Milah, and you have to be a Shomer Bris, and then you keep on walking in the middle. You have a siyata d'shmaya to focus and walk in the middle of the path. But that is the avodah of a yid, to be a hoylech. Nebuch, you think about it sometimes. The goyim, like a goyim must ask himself, why was I born? Like, what am I doing over here? Like, how many times have I eaten bacon and egg? So I'm just come from England, and like, why was I born? And where am I going? And like, I don't know why they're not depressed. I don't know why they're not all committing suicide. A Yid is monitoring when he thinks of where I'm coming from, and he knows he's going. We know we're going to we're going into the world of pleasure. Olam Haba is the world of pleasure, and on Shabbos you can feel a mashu, a me'ain of that. So we're mamin because we really feel it. So we're really excited. We're excited with our past, and we're excited with our future. We're excited with our past, and we're excited with our future. That's very exciting. That's very exciting, and it's getting more and more exciting as we get closer to the Gula. That's Shivisi Havaya Lenegdi Summit. That's the mitzvah of Shivisi Havaya Lenegdi Summit. And that's why Shulchan Aruch begins with Shivisi Havaya Lenegdi Summit. Because at the beginning of the day, how am I setting out my day? Havaya. What did I do yesterday? And I'm continuing with that today. Even if you don't have an easy day, and even if you have an easy day, use that as part of your halicha. Say, I'm going to build on it. I'm going to build on that. I didn't have such a good whatever. I'm going to build on it. I'm going to be machazik myself, and I'm going to build on it. And then that becomes part of your halicha. That becomes part of your halicha. Hashem should help us that we should be zochem as Hashem. We're so close. Just the last lap. A couple of more steps. And when Metz Hashem will be there. Begula hashlema v'amitis meher b'yameinu. Amen v'yamein. So we have to look into the future. Yevonim.